Hey guys, welcome back to King Cole TV. So today we have a little bit of a different video. Today we are talking about the new patch that came out, and I wanted to go over some of the decks that you want to look out for. And the patch went live probably yesterday of me posting this video. So here are some of the decks that I think are going to be more prevalent in the meta, something to look out for, decks that people are going to try, people are going to play. And as always, if you like my content, like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you know when I post, the exact minute I post, and I do post every single day. So let's get started into our patch notes. So Death Knight got a huge nerf, and the way it works is you can no longer discover triple rune cards. So you can't discover triple rainbow cards anymore. You can't discover three blood. You can't discover three unholy, and you can't discover three frost. So it is definitely gonna bring that class down a little bit, make it less top tier. But we'll see where it lies at the end of the day in the meta. And the way that I think things are gonna happen is Paladin, pure Paladin specifically, is gonna make its spot into top tier, number one in the meta right now, because they didn't really get any nerfs, and they were in that prime position to be second. So, and I don't think anything really got buffed to the point where it's gonna be top tier. But you know, if it does happen, I'm excited because I love Paladin, I love Death Knight, but you know, we need a little flavor in our life, you know, something a little different. So we'll just go over some of the nerfs real quick. Rowdy Ban gets nerfed to 3 attack instead of 4, so a big hit to, again, Death Knight and Demon Hunter. Demon Hunter had it's Demon Hunter had one of their cards, Lady Esthino, where it was the one that where it's immune when it attacks, and when you play a spell, it attacks the lowest cost minion. So it was kind of cheating. It was kind of not cheating. It was kind of overpowered. It was kind of it did a lot of damage and toward end game, especially for Relic Demon Hunter, so they got nerfed. This card, Overseer, got nerfed to a 3/6, which is nice because Frost DK didn't really need any extra damage, and so 3 attack on this card is a very nice hit. For Wild, we don't talk too much about Wild on this channel yet, but Twig was a huge problem in Wild. It would just give you 10 mana crystals for Druid and pretty much make Druid have 20 mana crystals if they draw the Guff right away. It was absurd. It was cheating. It was like an 80% win rate in Wild until today, where they just nerfed it. So now it's refresh your mana crystals. Voon got buffed to 3 mana, so it definitely help Menagerie Warrior. All of the rifts, besides the 3 mana draw a minion one, got buffed to so they all cost 1 less mana. So what I predicted was gonna happen. Besides, I don't know. It kind of makes sense they didn't do the 3 mana one, but it would be kind of nice if they did. Power Slider is a 2/3 now. Shield Block 2 mana. Front and Flunky is a 2/3. So Thorabelor had could only be revived twice, and now it can be revived no matter what, and if you play a fire spell. So a huge buff to Enrage Warrior, huge buff. This card is really good for Enrage Warrior, so I'm looking forward to playing it. And Enrage Warrior is definitely one of those classes that you need to look out for. Coming up, Infinitize the Maxitude, reduces the cost by 1 now for the spell that you discover. This card, Audio Splitter, and we'll talk about later, became a 2 mana 3/2, which is amazing for Mage. So, and we'll talk about it a little bit later. This card as well got reverted back to a 4 mana 2/5. So really strong for Mage, and then a 1/3 for Arcane Artificer. Just more survivability, so you can get more armor. Maybe he'll survive 1 turn, so you can get more armor the next turn. This one we also called. It's interesting that they made it into an 8 mana. It's something to look out for, not something to be worried about. I don't think the fact that this is going to be 8 mana is going to change too much in Hunter, but we'll see. This card is very interesting. I haven't heard too much about Arcane Hunter, but we'll see. Super cool that they did it, and I'm looking forward to trying new Arcane decks for Hunter in the future. They buffed Jazz Base into a 3/2, a 3 mana 3/2. So pretty strong in the early game, so you can kill some of those 3 health minions. Pretty nice. It helps out overload Shaman a little bit. This one, sadly, they didn't. They made it do 6 damage. I was hoping they would have made it 1 mana when you're overloaded. It's still 2 mana when you're overloaded. After, so it costs 3 less. And I was hoping they'd either make it to 4 mana, or they would make it so it costs 4 less if you're overloaded. But the 6 damage is definitely very helpful, especially for the late game. This card is very interesting. Flow Rider, they made into a 1 mana, 2 attack, 1 health, which is a huge difference, in my opinion. Just because when you have this card, you want to be able to drop it on turn 1, but you need to be overloaded. So in the way that I think is, you need to either run Spark, I think is what it's called, the 0 mana, do 2 damage to and overload to actually play this card and play it on curve and play it well. So it's cool. I've played a little bit of it. It's very interesting, and I'm looking forward to playing more. Overload on Lightning Storm got buffed to only do 1 instead of 2, so that's very nice for Overload Shaman. Crescendo got to turn into a 2 mana, so it helps out Control Warlock or Fatigue Warlock or Imp Warlock, whichever you prefer to play this card in. It's definitely something to look out for Warlock. All Warlock really had was Thaddeus and Imps, and this is definitely going to buff. I think it's going to buff Control and Imp Warlock, so we're looking forward to it. This one as well got buffed. It's 4 mana now. 3 attack, 4 health, so you can summon more 3/3 Imps. More 3/3 Imps in the future. Siphon Soul, big one, I think. Siphon Soul definitely needed a buff, and now it's 4 mana, just like anything else. Like Rogue has Assassinate, and Mage has the Imprison, I think, or the 4 mana, just get rid of the card completely. So now Warlock has that same spell at the same mana. And then through Record Scratcher got turned into a 3 attack, 2 durability now. So again, just like the Jazz base from Shaman, got that little extra attack to kill those 3 mana, to kill those aggro decks and help out with survivability for the early game. This one turned into a 5 mana 5/5, which is actually really nice because those extra stats do help out so late in the game. At 5 mana, you kind of want to play something that's gonna, do something and then also have a presence on the board. So those extra stat boosts is really nice. This got reverted to a 3 mana. It's got, not reverted, but it got buffed to 3 mana, but it doesn't do damage to all enemies anymore. It does damage to all enemy minions. So not too crazy. It's not really losing too much. You don't really need 2 damage to the face for the priest, really. You do need some early game removal. It'll help control priest more. This card is very interesting. You can get him down earlier just to get your solar eclipse or lunar eclipse. And Death Blossom Whomper also got a buff to a 5 mana 6/5 instead of a 6 mana 7/6. And do I think it's going to be effective? I don't know. I really don't. We don't really know until the meta finally slows down. Everyone's trying different decks. Do I think this is going to be a card in the future? Maybe in superhero power Druid. I don't think so though, because when you play this down and you end up drawing a the cat, the groovy cat, or the free spirit, not really anything too crazy. It helps you get those cards out of your deck, but it's not it's a 5 mana that just that's not doing too much as a death rattle besides giving you an extra hero power, which is a lot, but I don't think it's not enough for the mana cost, in my opinion. But we will see in the future. I could be wrong. So I just want to go over some of the decks that I think that everyone should look out for, and some of the decks that maybe everyone should try because they're going to be fun, and just including those cards that did get buffed into the deck. And Warrior especially got huge buffs. So Control Warlock, just for Control Warlock is definitely better just for Siphon Souls. So 2 Siphon Souls in the deck now instead of just none. Usually Control Warlock never ran Siphon Souls, so now there's 2 Siphon Souls in the deck, and it's at that 4 mana state where you do want to use it effectively, and use it earlier than 5 mana. In 5 mana you can drop your Opera Soloist, you can have Rin, and then obviously there's other 5 mana cards. that you would potentially want to drop, such as maybe your infantry reanimator. What else do we got? And then maybe even Soul Barrage. Maybe even Soul Barrage can become better in the future. So lots of things to come for Warlock. Combo Rogue is a big one just because of the Record Scratcher got buffed a little bit. So, and then so did MC Blingtron. So definitely look out for Combo Rogue in the future. Enrage Warrior, really good. Just solely because of, so Enrage Warrior has been doing really good in the meta right now. I think it's 50%, which is better than, it's good. 50% win rate decks are better than, it's better than 40%, 30%, and just for fun. So 50% competes with the meta, is a meta deck. And Thero Belor being buffed is definitely going to help out Enrage Warrior in the future. So look out for this deck more and more. Menagerie Warrior. Right now, we don't have them in that, but Power Slider is definitely going to be more of a threat. And the Rifts, especially, are going to be more of a threat. In my opinion, the only way that I see Rifts being played is in Menagerie Warrior. It helps out with that aggressive playstyle. They are less mana, so you can drop them down more, especially Bridge Rift. You want to get as many Bridge Rifts down as possible and get that finale to play more Bridge Rifts. But yeah, you would just take out a few of these cards and then add in some of the ones that I could see. Gorlock Ravager, maybe even Snapdragon you take out, and then you would probably take out Rolling Stone to be taken out, or even a Frequency Oscillator, and then you would put in those riffs, and then it would just give this deck more of that tempo and more of that strength that it needs to, win faster, be more aggressive, and be better. And then another one to look out for, I think, is Big Hunter. Big Hunter, just getting that Stranglethorn Heart to 8 mana. Maybe you summoned a bunch with Faithful Companion. You got them killed. You got 2 of them killed off, or you controlled the board. You got them killed off. The enemy team ends up killing them next turn, and then you just do Stranglethorn Heart and get them back, and then just put more pressure on board. So definitely a buff for this card. And I could definitely see this deck being a lot better in this deck, actually adding this card into it. And this is just Big Hunter. And then Mana Storm, actually, and this is a huge one that I want to talk about because I've been playing it a lot more. I think that Audio Splitter being 2 mana is big, because when it was 3 mana 4/3, you didn't really want to play it on turn 3. You have better things to play on turn 3. You'd rather play your Night Cloak. You'd rather play a 1-drop, play a 2-drop. This card never saw. It was always clunky when I played this deck when it had 3 mana. So now that it has 2 mana, I actually want to play it. And especially if I have a Pyroblast or a Blizzard in my hand, get those cards that make this deck stall out the game longer, and have that DJ Mana Storm just drop down, get that extra Pyroblast from the Audio Splitter, and then just continue to hit face with your Pyroblast. So very strong, I think. You're definitely going to see some of that deck in the future. And then Overload Shaman, of course. Did the buffs to Overload Shaman actually help it? Maybe a little bit. I don't think it's going to be too much more. I don't think it's going to be meta, really. I don't think it's going to be anything crazy. If anything, Jazz Bass might be added to Totem Shaman, potentially, or in some form like that, or it just won't see play again. Flow Rider, again, you play the Zap turn, if you're second and they're first, and you play the Zap turn on your first turn, and then you go into Flow Rider, and then you potentially get Prescience, or maybe Command the Neptulon, one of those cards that you would need for an aggro deck, so you could just survive till late game, or Lightning Storm, so you could survive and then do the Jive Insect combo into the Criminal lineup. But does it help it too much? Did the buffs help it too much? I don't think so. It didn't really do too much for Overload Shaman, but hopefully, and we'll never really know until the meta just really forms out or plays out in about a week or so. So we'll see what those decks are looking like in the future. But these are the ones I think that you should look out for. I think they're going to be played. And then is another one because of there's one more I want to talk about just because. Ooh, where is it at? Because a Naga Mage for sure is going to be played. Spite Lash Siren is just it's a very strong card if you get the right cards in hand, because you could just keep gaining mana, keep the light shows going, keep mana cheating pretty much. It's a mana cheat card, and it being at 4 mana just makes it that much stronger. So I do see Naga Mage being played. Do I see it being good right now? We'll never know. But I don't see it being overpowered. I don't see it being too good enough to be top tier, in my opinion. But again, I think the top tier deck or the top tier class in this meta is still going to be Paladin. Hunter is going to be up there. So I think the way it's going to go still is going to be Paladin, Death Knight, Demon Hunter, and then Hunter. So it's still going to stay the same. It's just evened out the playing field for every other class, so they would have a chance to be actually playable and actually fun in the meta. And I think the way the meta is right now, and the nerfs and the buffs were super good for the meta. The only thing that I am sad about is they did not buff Black Rock and Roll. And if it was at 4 mana, oh my god, the amount the amount of control warriors that would be played if this was at 4 mana, I think would be amazing. Or even if they just made it give all minions in your deck and in your hand the buff, I think it would be outstanding. But as it is, I don't think full control warrior is going to be a thing, and I don't think Blizzard wants it that way. So Menagerie Warrior and Rage Warrior is definitely something to look out for, and they still do play Black Rock and Roll and Rage Warrior. It's just not that full control warrior that people maybe miss and people really want back in the meta. But that is those are the decks that I think that everyone should be looking out for. Look out for Frost DK being nerfed. Even Blood Death Knight is going to be nerfed, so those decks are going to be less prevalent and less annoying in the future. And as always, guys, if you like my video, if you like the content that I have, and if you like me making more videos like this instead of gameplay videos, let me know in the future. Like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell just so you can see when I post, the exact minute I post, and I do post every single day. And that is it for the video. Everyone have a good day.